Okay, this is episode 6 of Deathly Chronicles. Before we begin, I've been working on reformatting the Havoc system into a standard booklet. This is currently how it looks. It's about 3 pages, 2.5 pages worth of content. Still have this other column here to fill in with extra details, but all of this stuff has been copied over. Nothing's changed, no rule changes since the last episode. I've just kind of uh, made everything reader friendly, basically. Expand on a lot of the context, explain things for new players. That's basically it. It's user friendly. That's it. So, where we left off, we had another round of combat with two Deathstalkers, which means after defeating them, we have two more left. One of them will be the Master, and the other will be the Scout we saw much earlier in this adventure outside of Reese's house. So, we have recently recruited Smith. I have changed his name slightly, Smithy, as a nickname given to by his friends, Jargus specifically. And I have his character sheet right here. So, here is what I did. His hardy is at +2, his agility is +3, his valor is +1, optics +3, and craft +1. Rolled up plus hardy with a health of 8. He gets the 3 luck points. His move is 7, and his defense is 14. He has a golden dagger, that's his personal dagger. He has a hood, robe, stealthy boots, and a vest, totaling +4 additional armor for his defense, so 14 defense. Rations 3, torch, that's it for items. He's a human male, 43 years old. His goal is to avenge his wife's death. We'll get to that in a second. He was also born in Havenseth, as Jargus was. His profession's a mercenary, and he won't disclose that just yet. His origin story, soldier, but more so a scout. This is why I made his advantage, his special, optics. That's why I have a balance between +3 for both agility and optics. So he fought alongside, or I should say he scouted alongside during the Great War with Jargus. And that's it. His focus is right in the middle, and I rolled up 15 gold pieces. That is Smithy's stats. This is what he looks like. So we have, let's see, Reese, Jargus, Smithy, just in that order. So 1, 2, 3. That's it. Let's begin. Okay, so we are just leaving Smithy's residence. It's been mostly burnt down. Whatever he has on him is all he has left. However, he whispers to Jargus, or I should say, Jargus asks Smithy. He didn't doubt him at all that he was going to help, but what made his decision so easy for him to join? Why was he so quick to join before Jargus really started talking? And Smithy will explain his wife was burnt upstairs, and her corpse is still up there. He wants to find these bastards and kill them. That's what he says. It's as simple as that. Maybe Smithy's a very simple person. That's why he does mercenary contract work. He kills people who are bad. Maybe he gets paid to kill. He's a mercenary. So perhaps a neutral character, but right now he's fighting alongside Jargus and Reese. So I don't think Reese hears that. Perhaps Reese is near the door. Again, remember he's keeping watch. So Jargus will lightly introduce Smithy to Reese, and I'm confident Reese has met Smithy before, perhaps once or twice in the past. He says, "You look familiar. Welcome aboard. We have a lot on our hands." Reese is trying to sound like a leader in a way. That is, Reese doesn't exactly have a high valor, but he's trying his best. And he's a young kid. He's 20 years younger, practically, than the other two. Yep, 24 years old. He's trying his best. He's maturing. This is like, you know, he's facing death multiple times. This is probably his first real experience in battle. So Smithy kind of nods, doesn't say much. He says, "Let's get this done with. Let's find these bastards." And he says, "I'll take the big one." So as they depart quietly, they depart Smithy's home. They get on the main trail behind my head here, and they make their way further in town into the main market because this is kind of on the way into the market, not the actual market itself. So I'm going to pause the video and update the background to the market. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's just the market with whatever that building is in the middle. AI just spit it out. Perhaps it's the castle. We're not really too sure yet, but it's burned down. You can tell by the leftover fires and just gives you a visual of. It kind of looks like we're wearing a crown right now, and that's freaking hilarious. Um, the Eye of Mordor is right behind me. Okay, okay, so let's focus. The team makes their way to the market, knowing that they'll probably run into the main big bad of the Deathstalkers and the remaining Deathstalker henchman, the scout. But first, Smithy will obviously, with experience, volunteer that he will scout up ahead, probably jump up on some buildings, jump the roofs, do the Assassin's Creed thing. His talent more so is balanced between agility and optics. So he's our guy that will look up ahead and scout the area for any immediate threats. What we'll do is roll 2d20 because that is his specialty with +3 on this modifier. We'll set the DC at 12. I think this is above normal task wise. So that is +3 in the highest roll, which is 17. So that's an unnatural 20. He will see the master and the remaining Deathstalker. Well, he spots someone. Let's not jump the gun just yet. Let's ask the Oracle. Does he see the remaining Master and Scouts, Deathstalkers? 75% chance. Oh, I'm sorry. The Oracle. Very likely. 17. Very likely. That is a standard yes, though very close to strong. Okay, so I forgot we almost have this. Now, it is. Let's figure out what they're doing. Let's use the sidebar here. Let's use the action descriptors. I've been eager to test those out. The action they're currently doing is 22 conflict. Obvious, there's a lot of conflict in the air. 77 quiet. Quiet conflict. Something that's conflicting to them is very quiet. Hmm. They're discussing because everybody has evacuated or has been brutally murdered, unfortunately, or has escaped, ran away. Perhaps they are standing somewhere in the open, talking to each other quietly. If Smithy would have rolled a perfect 20, he would have had great sharp senses and would have been able to make out what they were saying, but he can't. So I think that's what stands, is that they're quietly discussing, probably formulating a plan, or they're concerned, the master's concerned as to where his other 6 members are. They're all dead. We defeated them. And I'm pretty sure after this session, or after defeating the master and the scout, my team will get a level up. At least Reese and Jargus will. Smithy just jumped in. So, well, that's really up to me. I could give it a level up across the board. We'll figure that out. But I think Smithy notices that they are in the open. They look preoccupied with something, and they are talking amongst themselves quietly. He can't make it out. So he jumps back. He meets with the team. Jargus and Reese are perhaps hiding in an alley, waiting for at the bottom of a ladder. Smithy hops down. He says, they're just around the corner. They appear to be in front of the main market. They're talking about something, but I couldn't make it out. Any ideas? Jargus. He says, "What do you notice about them? Is it the one that is it the main guy?" And the Reese also mentions, "Did you see the scout?" Smithy says, "Yeah, there was a short fellow, there was a short guy, and there was a really big dude. Not dude. There was a really big, tall someone with a heavy suit of armor." And Jargus and Reese look at each other. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the boss. Most likely the leader. And Jargus is like, I wonder what they're talking about. Reese is going to interject, and he's going to think, well, if they're just standing around waiting for the rest of the, if they're waiting, they're obviously waiting for perhaps their men to return. That's we can sneak up and strike first before they even have time to react. And Smithy's like, I like this kid. Jargus is like, well, he is my nephew. So Smithy gives them route so that the team will not take the main course, obviously, the main route, but will take a side road up to where Smithy believes the direction is for the remaining two Deathstalkers. Now we get to a clearing, an opening in the market, and the team is hiding behind a couple of burnt down merchant tables. You can smell spoiled, rotten food, burnt, completely, torched, perhaps a few bodies. And Smithy sees a potion, a spare potion, sitting kind of on the back side of a vendor stall. He's about to grab it. Reese is looking. Jargus doesn't really mind. Reese says he doesn't. He's not going to question. I think Reese is, he's stealing technically, but the booth is left abandoned. So Smithy's going to add a potion to his collection here. I also gave Smithy 3 days rations because he just came from home, or he just left his house, his residence, and that's all he has really left on person. Now they look over and they see the master and the scout. The master um, grabs, for some reason, looks like he grabs the scout by the throat and starts to lift him up, kind of like how Vader grabbed the uh, the rebellion soldier in the first episode. Well, not the A New Hope. He grabs him and he starts to squeeze his throat, and the guy's struggling to breathe. And they're all surprised, like, what the hell's going on? From our point, from the guide's point of view, from the guide, insubordination. He's basically the scout. Perhaps when we were dealing with everything else, the scout ventured off to find the others and came back with no intel. So he's being punished. He chokes the scouts struggling. This is our time to strike. But this guy, this master, is in a full suit of armor. He won't be the most agile, but he's going to be a have a huge defense. So we have a party of three. Reese is going to, I think, since the last combat round, Reese. Oh, I did make an adjustment on the rules to healing. Forgot to mention that. So how convenient, right? Healing right here. Healing is almost immediate after a combat sequence is completed, but most effective after a brief rest in a safe area. Results depend on the severity of the damage taken, which in our case it's just one, typically determined by the guide. A night's rest provides a full heal of basic damage, but not additional care may be required if the damage is significant. Healing items and certain magic can also heal. I forgot to mention that. So let's go back to the main screen. We didn't technically do a full rest, or we didn't technically take a brief rest, so I'm not going to heal that. He will have one damage. But I just remembered that's one section that I did add a few more details on. So, um, the crossbow is in Reese's hands. He says, I'll take a shot. Jargus says this is probably the best time. He's preoccupied with whatever they're doing. And Smithy, he's looking around. He's gonna try to see if there's a better vantage point because they're pretty low. Like they're about at ground level with the guy, the master holding at his left. Like the master his left side is where he's exposed. He's being really irresponsible right now. He is flaunting his superiority, his power, but he's leaving himself exposed. All of his men have been killed, and he's struggling. He's choking the hell out of the last remaining Death Stalker he has in person. So we're gonna roll for optics again for Smithy to see if there's a better vantage point. Let's roll +3 and the highest result. Difficulty, let's say it's 15. 17 again, so +3. That's assault, all unnatural 20. He says, "What do you mean get closer? There's a slight, there's a bunch of like debris and garbage in front of them, so they can quickly sneak, cut to the left of the market, and get up, so we can get a clear shot of his face. Maybe his helmet kind of has cover like this, but there's exposure in his face, like usual area right here." So Reese is like, "That's yeah," because now that they're looking at the master, the guy has a full suit of armor. He has the gloves. Everything is covered. Cape. There's no real like opening to like, fire an arrow perfectly. It'd have to be a critical, a perfect roll, as I call it in my game. The arrow would have to go like perfectly through the neck plate or some kind of exposed hole or a an opening. But they acknowledge it. So they tell Jargus to stay here because Jargus is the slowest member of the team. Yeah, +1. So they tell her to stay here, remain in backup, and if anything goes wrong, just rush the guy, use a longsword. Smithy says, me and Reese, we're gonna go make our way to that opening vantage point further to the left, while these two are occupied, whatever they're doing from the perspective of the player characters. So Reese and Smithy, I'm gonna switch the character sheets here because now they're kind of teamed up. Jargus is on standby. We're gonna do a joint roll because agility is for Reese, so we'll do a +4. This will be 15 because it's a tough. Well, he's occupied. Let's say 12 because he's occupied. So +4 advantage, two rolls, 16. That's 20 on natural again. Smithy with agility, he only gets a 1 d20. +3 though, 11. That's 14. So he made it. He's just over the mark. They both successfully, stealthily bolt, crouch, and they make their way a slightly higher advantage point, perhaps behind a railing of solid cement or bricks. And the crossbow, Reese is going to do the shot because he has the highest agility of 4. He's going to aim, and hopefully not in the sight line. Let's say there's an opening of boxes like this, crates, or the railing, or not the railing, the divider in the brick wall. There's an opening, and he has this crossbow right through the opening like this. And he's going to roll for agility. That's going to be a shot taken. One crossbow, or one bow. So this will be D6 if we hit. And the DC will be 15. Actually, let's make it a little higher. 18. This is going to be tough. So 18 is probably the highest I'm going to do at times. 20 for impossible, like from a further distance, but we're a bit closer now. So 14. I'm sorry. 18 rolling advantage or special +4. I rolled a 14. 2 on the other one. So we take the 14 result +4. That's 18. That's literally just enough to hit the master right, perhaps not in the neck. I'm going to say it hits him in the shoulder. There's an opening between the shoulder plate and perhaps to his arm, hits him right in the shoulder. The arm that he's holding up, let's say his right arm, he's holding up the insubordinate, the scout. So he shoots it, the crossbow hits him in the shoulder, gets a hit, he'll take some damage eventually, and he drops the scout. The scout collapses, falls back, gasping for air. As he falls back onto it, maybe a box of fruit, a box of whatever leftover rations. And the master screams, grabs his shoulder, and he's looking around. The team is hiding down. And when he's looking around, about to crouch, Jargus is going to rush in. And we'll do a roll for this. I think Jargus, that was part of the plan. He's going to rush. So we have a +1. And I don't know why. Oh, yeah, that's right. I have a temporary adjustment, a temporary advantage for 1 day wearing that strange amulet we found. So he has advantage for agility. But this will be 12 because the master has been struck. He's occupied with an injury, with a wound. and he's looking around at who the hell just fired, and he's backing me, crouching back. So this is where Jargus is going to run in and swing with his longsword straight at the master. So let's roll for d20. We'll be a +1, but with advantage. 19. So that's an unnatural 20. He takes a swing and the he hits the master, causing him to go prone, but not injuring him. He has a full suit of armor. The arrow did damage, but not that. So now we are in combat. Okay, so let's write down the stats here for the master. Let's first roll for initiative, each character. Okay, we'll roll for the master first. 8. So we'll put him up here, master. He's 8. Reese is going to roll next with agility plus. Oh yeah, that's right. It's 2d20s. That's a okay. I rolled 6 together, so 10. So Reese is doing me 10 here. Okay, and then Smithy is going to roll for initiative, or not? I'm sorry, not initiative. Turn order. I don't want to. 2. Wow. Okay. Smithy's going to roll a 2. Turn order, and then for Jargus with advantage. Oh, we saw a solid 20. Okay, so not really part of my rules or anything, but that increases his focus 1 step, and that puts him up the top. So Jargus has the first go, and I'll let him deal double damage on the first go if he hits. So 20. Okay, so the master, let's get his specs here. We'll give him a defense of, I'm going to say really high 18. HP of 8 was pretty tough the last time, so let's say 10. And his damage die will be a D. Let's do D8. 1d8. He does have an arrow stuck in his shoulder, so let's decrease his damage by 2. So now he's down to 8. Okay, so now Jargus is going to attack. He'll use his longsword once again. We roll doubles because that's a special. +4 on this roll. Nothing hits. 11 plus the 4, that's 15. That's a miss. Okay, next is going to be Reese with his crossbow. He stays right where he is. That'll be a +4 in advantage. 13. Oh, that's short by 1, so that's 17 with the +4. We could use a luck point. I could have used a luck point before. I'm going to use a luck point to re-roll that. Whoops. This is Reese's out of the 3. For a re-roll, I'm glad I re-rolled. I got 15. That's a hit. So that gives us 15, 16, 17, 18. That's a hit. 19, sorry, with the +4 of Reese. Now we roll for the damage of his short sword, or sorry, crossbow of D6. Okay, so now we're rolling for damage. 3. Not bad. So now the master is down to 7, 6, 5, 5. The master's up. Okay, so he gets up, he pulls the arrow out of the shoulder, throws it down, and he's going to strike Jargus because Jargus is close to him. So that'll be a D20. Jargus has a defense of 15. Okay, now we're rolling. 8. That's a miss. Smithy is going to jump out of the shadows and is going to strike, some bum rush the master using his gold dagger, which he does not have an advantage on. So rolling a standard D20. 10, that's obviously a miss. +2 even, that's still a miss. Okay, now it's back to Reese. Reese will use his crossbow once again. Let's use, yep, crossbow. So 14, or advantage, critical, or perfect. So that pushes his focus up to 1 step. Okay, so now this is our first time, I think. He has a +1 on all of his rolls. I gotta remember that. That's gonna be an extra topping on this huge cake. So double damage. This boss is relatively simple. Um, even with the high standard, the high defense. Okay, it's gonna be D6 double damage. So let's roll it. 1. Damn it. Okay, so he's down to that's 4 now, 4 HP. Okay, now is I'm going to say that the master is enraged and he's going to attack Smithy, who's close by. So we're going to do 2d20s. Smithy's armor or defense armor is 15. Oh, 11, nothing. That's a miss. Okay, let's say Smithy's up now. Smithy will use his gold dagger. No bonus, just a +2. 12, that's 14. That's a miss. Okay, now we're back to Jargus. Jargus rolls with his long sword. Hardy is advantage. So we're aiming 18 or more. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's a hit. Good rolls today compared to last time. That's going to be a long sword as a D8 damage. So look at our D8 die. 1. This guy's getting lucky. Okay. So that was Jargus. Now it's Reese's turn. Reese will uh, use his crossbow once more. And we're aiming for the 18. So +4 in this roll. Another critical. I'm not lying. Another critical. Okay. So this is double damage to the D8 with the D6. I'm sorry. Yep. D6 with the crossbow. 6. Okay. Straight arrow to his face. He's dead. We defeat the boss with little to no effort. However, the scout, he stands up and he's going to take part in the fight. We'll roll for initiative. We're going to put the scout in here. 18. Scout will be, let's see. Let's replace the master's position with the scout. However, the scout is going to have a lower defense and a lower damage die with a lower HP because he was being choked. So let's say his HP is 6, 1d6 for damage, and his defense is actually going to be 15. So he's now in the fight. And who did just. Okay, so Reese went now. It's a scout. Scout jumps in. He yells, even though he was being punished, he was being tortured. He yells at top of his lungs, Master! He's enraged. They'll give him advantage. We'll give him 2 dice. He's going to attack. He's going to rush Reese and attack. 19. Ooh, okay. So that's a hit. It's obviously a hit. He has a d6 damage, so roll for d6. 4. He's 1 away from death. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's at 5 out of 6 damage. All right. Reese, once it's a turn, we'll be able to do anything. We can't do anything until it's a turn. Smithy is going to use, he's going to follow and run up to the scout and attack with his gold dagger. Well, 4. That's a miss. So now it's Jargus. Jargus will use, he'll have to move also and attack with his longsword with advantage, of course. 19. That's going to be a hit. And we will roll for damage with his longsword, which is D8 against the scout. 8. Full hit. Okay. The scout is slashed in half, or his head beheaded. However, he is killed, and he collapses on the ground. Reese is heavily injured. Um, Reese will take his potion, so we'll erase that from his inventory. This will be a D6. That was a close one, actually. The scout did more damage than the actual boss. So, but I have an idea narratively why this was so easy. So D6 for heal. That's 4. So he takes away. He's back to 1 wound basically, or 1 damage. So Reese is back to 1 hit. Okay. Now everyone else is not injured at the moment. The team reconvenes. They take a deep breath and they look around at the destruction of the town. They Reese just drops to his. He just drops to his. He sits on the ledge. Takes a deep breath because the potion's taken effect. Smithy is looking through. Smithy and Jarkus are more interested in the master, the guy in the big suit of armor. They look through him. They take off the mask. Just a kid. It's not some old 40-plus-year-olds. They don't recognize him. They're confused. They look like it's just a kid. Or Smithy's okay. Jargus says it's just a kid, and then Reese hears this. He turns around. He's on the ledge. Turns back. He says, "What's going on?" And they step aside. And I can see it's he's the master is just no older than Reese. Reese is like he's confused. He jumps off the ledge and walks up. He's like, I was expecting this guy to be at least 40. Like I thought he was your age. Jargus says, no offense taken. Smithy crouches down, looks at the guy's face. There's no markings, but they have the clothing and the wares of the um, Death Stalkers. So they're confused. The scout, he's young. He's not like, but they're more confused on why the leader is just a kid, like 20 plus years old. So they're going to loot him. They'll get his full suit of armor. So this is like heavy suit of armor. This will go to Jargus. I'm gonna have to take away. Let's upgrade his chainmail to. I'll say it's like armor. Dragon scale armor, just to give it some royalty sound to it. So now his defense is at 16. Okay. They also find his warhammer. Perhaps he's a warhammer. That will go to Smithy. He doesn't mind the big weapon. That'll be a 1d8 and 100 gold pieces. So that will split them up between 20. We'll do 30. Let's give 30 to Reese, so he's at 61. We'll give 30 to Smith. Oh, that gives him to 45 total. And then 30, we'll just do 90. Just keep it easy. That's going to be 63 total for Jargus. They also find a note upon that. So after they defeated, I'm going to write my notes down here. They defeated the master, quote unquote master of the Deathstalkers, and it was just a kid. They they don't recognize him. They were expecting someone from their past to be responsible for this, all this destruction, but they find a note. However, the note is in a different language. So I'll write that down. At first, it's in a different language, so perhaps Reese is reading it. He doesn't recognize it. He'll give it to Jargus. Jargus will do a knowledge-ish check with craft. That's not a specialty. I'm going to say 15. 18. Okay. He recognizes it. This language is a variant of common. I'm trying to think of it'll be like a different dialect, different symbols. It's a language of a cult. He recognizes that the language comes from a cult. It's symbols. It's like a message. And it says it's from okay, so here. The message is written in a special coding. It's code. There we go. It's code, Deathstalker code for it details finding and killing the we need a name for the group that these guys were all in. Trying to think of a name. I'm gonna pause the video for a second. It's simple. It's just finding well the note compressed, the code compressed from what he can make out is find and kill the elites. These guys, Smithy, Jargus, and oh shoot, who was the last guy we were talking to? Who didn't join the party? I think I have it written down here. Rambos, they and probably a couple others that either are dead or we haven't run into them yet. They're from the team called a specialized team from the old military there of the Great War called the Elites. They were like the best of best. So um, the code makes Jargus worried because he says that code hasn't been we haven't seen that code language used since the Great War, the Deathstalkers. So he says either someone has brought back the Deathstalker cult, or there was a remaining survivor who has been contracting work out to these kids. And Smithy acknowledges that's a possibility that there's a survivor. Maybe we missed one. Reese is concerned as he looks around at the destruction. Jargus says, before we close the episode, Jargus says, "Does this avenge your wife's death?" And Smithy says, "Well, this bastard." He looks down at the dead body. He says, "This bastard most likely killed is responsible for killing my wife, but we're not done here." And then it fades away as the camera shows the whole burnt down market, fades away to black. And that's where I'm going to conclude, not necessarily the whole campaign, but at least my play test for my game. I might continue. This is going fantastic. This is going fantastically. I love how this is going. There's a note now. They have a new mission. Let's level up my characters while I'm still on camera. So we will level up all of them, even Smithy, even though he just jumped in. So with that in mind, I have to deactivate something, and that's the agility amulet that Jargus had on for agility. So he's back to his special of Hardy. I totally forgot about Reese's +1 on all rolls because of his focus, but I digress. All right, first let's upgrade Reese to level 2. Let's go to the camera, or let's go to the document here. Advancement. Okay, so I'm going to spring his level up 1. Advancement is roll 1d6 to take the new health, or to add. 6. Holy crap. Okay, that worked out. It's also a full heal. Nope, I took that out apparently. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I want the game to be challenging in every department. Increase focus to +1 step. Let's see, +1. You know what? I'm going to say +1 step. Luckily, this document is not finalized. There we go. So he's now past the +1 mark. Replenish luck. That's next session. I'm concluding a session, so it doesn't matter. You do this if you level up during a session. Increase Havoc mod by +1. Max is 10. I'm going to increase his optics +1 because I want him to be more like Smithy. He's he's looking up to Smithy for his experience. And that's it for Reese. So Reese has concluded. We'll put him off to the side here. Smithy, let's also toss all these luck points away. And then my dice. And then my little wooden roller here. Now Smithy is going to level up. The usual, I just put the dice away. How ironic. Need 6 for health. Also 6. Holy mackerel. Okay. So that puts him at 14 plus from the 8. So 14 health. I'll take that. And increase focus +1 step. Replenish luck. Skip. Increase havoc mod +1. I'm going to say he wants to get his strength up here. So we'll do +3 now on Hardy. Because he has the Warhammer, he's like, that's kind of what I'm doing it from the guy's perspective. If agility, improve move, which we're not going to do. So level 2, he is up. He has advanced a level. Jargus is going to advance a level. So level 2. Roll a d6 for health. 5. Okay, that's 11 total. Okay, 11 health. We have increased focus +1. That's good. Which is interesting because when we first introduced Jargus, he was -1 step because of what happened to his gold locket. Increase Havoc mod by +1 of your choosing. I think he's still going to go for Hardy. He's going to be the brutes in this team, the muscle. Okay, so now it's 5, and that's it. Okay, so to quickly summarize, we found the imposter, not the actual master, the leader of this so-called Deathstalkers. and we defeated both him and the scout from earlier. The team is doing quite well, and we only took 5 total damage or so. That was very good, and I hope you guys enjoyed. This is turning out to be very intriguing, as do some of my campaigns. But at least in the next episode, which will, if again, if I continue this, I'm been kind of looking at let's see, this will be episode 7 for next time. I've been kind of looking at, let me show you guys, Savage Worlds. Rereading it, I'm very intrigued by it. Specifically this edition. I like the formatting of it. I like the look of it. The Explorers edition is the original. Well, it's I don't know if it's like the OG rules of Savage Worlds, which I do have the original, but I like this compressed format. So we'll see. I always have that in play. Maybe I might change the rules over to Savage Worlds for this, or I'm still deciding. But I like how this playtest has went, and I don't want to promise anything. It may continue, it may not, just how things go. But overall, definitely keeping these characters in play. And this episode was quite fun. So, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Happy New Year's. I'm sure I'll see you guys before Happy from New Year's, but if I don't, Happy New Year's.